Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for an official practice match preview. We're going to do a little bit different. It's a practice match, so we're going to try some things out. And I've got a very long time family friend to the right of us, Nick. Others call him Jid. Others call him many things we probably cannot disclose online. But Nico, if you guys haven't noticed, Nico is a diehard Richmond fan. So Nico, welcome to the channel. Brave of you. Brave as a Richmond fan to come on. I appreciate it.
Right? That's
How
all right.
feeling?
Anytime. Well, it's been a long time coming, actually. I've been wanting to be on this for a while, just to speak about Richmond in some way, shape, or form. But now, literally, when you told me, perfect timing, Richmond Collingwood first practice match, I was like, all right, I got to get on. We've got to do something like this. This is cool.
As some would say, here we
Literally, here we go now.
Look, I'm super keen. I feel like, who did Richmond have West Coast? I feel like the unofficial practice matches were a bit of a tease downstairs for some of us, because we felt like it was going to be somewhat the real thing, even though it wasn't. Was that the same for you with the Richmond and West Coast game? Were you a bit like, oh, I don't know, I was looking forward to it, but didn't reach the climax that I was hoping for?
Watching actually the whole game, I was actually quite disappointed. Like, I knew it was going to be hard because we had so many young players. We literally had only one player that was over 25, and that was K-Mac, McIntosh. So I'm like, all right, West Coast have got a pretty good team. And the funny thing is they actually had Baker and Graham playing, and they had a pretty stacked team. Not like overly stacked, but I'm like, okay, let's just try our new plan. But I was actually quite disappointed in the end because we went way too defensive. I'm like, if you've got such a young team, don't go so defensive because you're going to get hammered, which happened. But in saying that, I'm assuming it's because so many guys are out. They want to be safe and, cautious and see how all these guys go and not get injuries, I'm assuming. Because now, from what I'm hearing, all reports against Collingwood, everyone's back. So it's like 15. I think I told you the other day, I think there's like 15 players that were missing. Well, exceptions, a few knee recos, but like majority should be back for Collingwood. So if that does not show a full print of like the game plan moving forward, then I would be shocked. But yeah, like all in all, I was actually quite impressed with some of the young guys, and just at least to get a hit out. But yeah, it will be interesting to see now the main game against Collingwood.
The word on a grapevine is the wheels are already falling off at Richmond with Sam Lawler, fractured jaw, gets knocked out. And then your mate Meatball, Dion Prestia, already nursing an Achilles injury. What's going on? I thought you guys were easing into it.
Well, firstly, on the Sam Lawler one, I don't know why Jimby hasn't been suspended. Piece of crap. How the hell is that not a suspension for literally pushing the guy into a pack of guys and then literally going away from it? Like, you're literally potentially causing a guy to break his neck or break his shoulder. And the more upsetting thing was, he was our best player on the day, and number one draft, and it was literally a minute to go. So I almost smashed the TV. I was like, come on, man, this is a joke. Like, why does this have to happen? But I think it's not that bad. And Prestia, having actually a word with him last week, he at the function, he said that he was 100% ready to go. The best preseason he's had. And I don't know if it was him or me. We jinxed it. And then I say what happened today. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. He should have had some meatballs last week. He didn't need anything last week when he went to this restaurant. So I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing bad. But like, I'm already hearing, like you would have probably seen today, like, oh, there's so many supporters in Richmond and other people saying, oh, he's done. Let him just retire, this, that. I'm like, man, like, we need the experience. Like, it's probably a little niggle, but people just got to sometimes relax, especially a lot of Richmond supporters who go crazy.
Yeah. Don't worry. I reckon he'll be back round 15, round 16, and then you'll be good to go for finals, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, in 2028.
Yeah. Now, look, it's going into the Pracky game. It's going to be interesting. Like, we're at the completely different end of the spectrums with where Richmond are at. They're young. They drafted 7 or 8 players. They've fielded us basically an under 24 sides against West Coast. It'll be the youngest side in the AFL practically against the older side in the AFL. So that dichotomy will be will be a fascinating watch.
That's crazy.
We can dive into more or less how we think Richmond will go this year as we get further into the preview. But I just want to change the mood a little bit. I feel like the background's not quite setting the tone for this video. So let me just change it, make it feel a little bit nicer. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's
Oh
much
my
better.
God.
Hold on.
Can we get there? Get us on this as well. Oh man,
the man
this
himself.
Guy.
I had to.
You stopped our 4P. Stupid.
Look,
man.
You guys had the last laugh, but I'm gonna take what I can here, and that 2018 prelim. Just before we get into the ins and outs of the match preview, you guys got your 3 flags in 4 years, but that night in particular, I know you were at the G. Tell me your emotions throughout that game. On your birthday.
Yeah, that was. I think I almost threw up at the end. I was but not. No. I think going into the game, I wasn't as confident as before. And the weird thing was, you would even, majority of people would know, that was our best season out of the 4. Like, we topped the league by 3 games ahead of second. So I was like, all right, this is good. But we didn't hit stride leading into the finals. We had a few crappy games and you need continuity. You've seen how it is with Collingwood winning and other teams. You need to have good flow going into the finals. And I was like, nah, it's not looking good. And then obviously, I don't like using excuses, but we were a bit, injured and a bit sick, but Collingwood absolutely came out flying. So it was impossible. And that guy, oh God. Was it only 1 game in his career? Are we going to send him back? No, I'm joking. No, he's been all right. But I think, in the end, you were up by 40 or 50 points, and it was literally all over Red Rover. By then, I don't even know. I think I was numb. That's the word I want to use. I was numb by into the first quarter because I'm praying, surely we're going to come back, what the year we've had. But yeah, it was still a pretty big shock. But then they made up for it, 2019 and 20. So it's all still a bit surreal. So it's I think now it's more like it's in the bank, something I thought I'd never experience in my lifetime. 1, let alone 3. So now I'm pretty content. It's just about building again. So it's they've got the blueprint now. They know what to do to go from the bottom to up in a quicker transition than what we did in 37 freaking years. So it's just, hopefully they do it right. And I'm sure the boys and Ooze and that will be good going forward. But yeah, I thought we might have had one more in 21 or 22 with the same trajectory that Collingwood is doing currently, which we can talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it didn't work out in the end. In 21, I thought we could have, or 22, when Lynch kicked that goal against Brisbane and they didn't count it. But yeah, I'm very satisfied. But yeah, now it's just about seeing what happens and just seeing these young guys and the rest of the crew coming up.
Yeah, it's funny you say that with Richmond's 2018 because the mirror image happened to Collingwood the next year, 2019. We were probably the best team all year, and then we absolutely bottled it against GWS in that prelim. And Collingwood robbed the AFL and the wider community of probably the most highly anticipated grand final we could have ever gotten in the last 10, 20 years. And unfortunately, it ended up being a steamroll for the Tigers in that grand final against GWS. Shocking performance by GWS. Absolutely just diabolical.
Was it all because of this man right here, or just above me?
There he is.
The goat? Yeah, I was going to say one of my favorite words as well, literally for when I was just thinking of what you said about Collingwood, the GWS game, but the worst was the 28 game. It was absolute pukage. Not to, the grand final, then to go into a prelim the next year, usually teams were but at least you got the flag now, you learn from it and build from it. But actually being at the 2019 grand final, and 2017, 20 I wasn't, obviously COVID, but the one thing I'm upset about and regret is I never went to the best prelim, which was the 2017 one, GWS. And everyone goes on about it.
GWS. It was GWS.
Yeah, GWS. And everyone's saying, even Prestia said it the other day. He's like, the whole ground was shaking, how full on it was and crazy. And I was in lawn celebrating my 20 something, I don't know, 28, 77, but you know, how old?
Oh, young Red.
But back then, yes. But now, yeah, that was I think from what I've heard, like, yeah, insane. But I think all of them are great in their own way. But yeah, I think the 2018 was a good learning block. And I watched the Cochin YouTube video, his one the other day, and he even said it. It's like, you know, and Jack Revolt said the same thing. You go into that one thinking, oh, you know, like everything's all smooth sailing, but I think it's those losses and those painful kind of experiences that you know, learn from and progress to, you know, hit the ultimate goal. Or else, hey, you can't just keep getting continual success. It's impossible.
Yeah. Now, rolling into the practice match, Nico,
Mm.
I have a bone to pick, and I don't know if you've put any thought towards it, but what's the deal with this practice match being played at Icon Park? Like, Malaka, don't we have Punt Road, whatever you call your training ground? Start whatever. What is it? What's it called? Just
Swinburne Centre now. Yeah, Swinburne Centre. Yeah.
And we have Victoria Park, Collingwood's old home ground, and we're playing at Icon Park. What's the deal with that?
I don't know why they've been doing a lot of practice games at Icon Park. I don't get it. Why? Maybe because of the numbers they can get, or that's a bit actually strange. But haven't you seen? I think majority of the practice matches for the simulations were all over the place, but I think these ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know about the other ones, but I can double check. But I think majority of them are all over the place. But yeah, I agree. I don't know why it's not a Swinburne Centre or Collingwood's. You know, we've both got decent grounds, but now we have to play Carlton's.
I feel like Victoria Park could hold a decent capacity unless it's under construction. And Swinburne Centre, yeah, sure, you won't get the same as Icon Park. But look, at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom dollar. So the AFL are going to go for what makes them the most money, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I personally haven't been to Icon Park, and I'm going Wednesday. So I'm looking forward. Are you going?
Okay. Actually, I have no idea yet. Pending. I might actually go, but I'll double check if Senior Giddis wants to go. But Icon Park I've been to once. No, impossible. I can't walk. Yeah. Too heavy now.
Missus, man, that's I'm not asking her to come. I said you got to run it past the missus. Like you got to.
Oh yeah. If there's tickets, I'll probably actually might consider it because I've been there once. No, I've been there twice for the AFL Women's Richmond. It's pretty good. It's decent size. It's funny enough, just looking at all the games to my right here. Literally all the games are all over the place at different grounds I've never heard of, like Rushton Park, Hands Oval, the only one that's familiar is Gold Coast Stadium and Tassie. Everywhere else is random, and Geelong, GMHBA. But everywhere else is Brighton Homes Arena, RSCA Park, I don't know, Hands Oval.
Thank you, the same ground,
Yeah, so actually that makes sense. Why some of the home games are actually the home team's grounds, but not ours. Has to be a crowd thing.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Maybe it's more of a showcase game Wednesday, Collingwood versus Richmond. The excitement's there. They're gonna draw eyes to the game. That's undoubtedly going to be the case when both teams are going in with a fresh perspective in 2025. So what better way to capitalize on that before our O's are taken in the season? So good idea. We played there we played each other at Icon Park last preseason, didn't we? For the charity. What's the charity shield we're doing?
Actually, I believe it was. Actually, I'm not sure. I saw them promoting it. I think it's for like some food thing. I need to double check that. Hopper and Josh Smiley were advertising it. I literally skipped over it, but I know it was some I think for poverty or something, for food and families and stuff. But yeah, I think it's definitely for a good cause.
Yep. And last practice match, wasn't there a little bit of a scuffle at the end of the game with Marlon Pickett and Mason Cox?
The last year's one?
Yeah.
Oh, you remember better than me. I remember.
I'll stop.
Can I put some Richmond? I actually don't remember. I remember from what I remember from that game. I thought we actually started well, and then you guys won it in the end.
Yeah.
Strongly.
Yeah, we had a really good first half. De Goey and Nick Dacos were flying. And then in the second half, it sort of died out. Richmond bounced back a little bit. And it ended up being it was a relatively competitive game considering the trend of how it was going early in the game.
Okay. Now, and then the scuffle at the end. Yeah. Of course, there's going to be a scuffle with him.
Yeah. So, as a Tigers fan going into the game against the Hot Pies, you as a Richmond fan with a fresh perspective going into this year, what do you want from this game specifically? The preface is, it's a practice match, blah, blah, blah. If you lose, people say it's just a practice match. If you win, people are pretty happy, especially if they beat strong opposition. So what's your view? What's your hopes?
It's quite obvious. Richmond by 40 points. No, joke. But can you imagine? No, it's I'm actually finding it hard to even analyze this game because of all the ins we're coming in, like especially since it's a practice game and all the ins that we've got coming in. But I would assume it's a lot closer than what it was against West Coast, and also seeing who Collingwood bring in. How many players they missed last simulation game, I'm not sure. You would know, but I know Dacos in the field and played, and he killed it as usual. But as long as like I said, as long as it's in a fine print of an attacking kind of game style, even from what speaking to Prestia and Smiley last week, well, Prestia said, Dimmer was more of a defensive kind of coach, and you go from there, pushing up. But he said Uze's kind of fine print is literally attacking full pace, which we haven't seen yet. And I've heard a lot of Richmond supporters getting pretty annoyed, especially from the simulation. Last year it's an anomaly, fair enough. But this year we want to see it. So it has to be this game against Collingwood before round 1 against Carlton. So it should be actually a pretty interesting, cool game to watch. I hope it's closer than I think it could go if Collingwood really turn it up. But I don't know. Craig McRae's got some Richmond blood in him. Maybe he's nice. Hopefully he doesn't decide to want to destroy us. But I'm intrigued to see how it actually pans out this game. And
maybe Markov gives old mate Oleg Markov gives a couple handballs to Tom Lynch on a platter in the goal square. Who knows?
Oh, that would be nice. And hopefully Lynch stays on for the whole game and actually injury free for the rest of the season.
Yeah. You know what I'm looking forward to is I want to see, and we have seen it before with the expansion clubs early days, but I want to see Richmond's youngsters this year. The bulk of their squad will be very young. Collingwood have brought in 2 or 3 youngsters, and there are a couple second years like Harry Di Mattia and Tujath and Jacob Ryan, who was drafted, is like a 3rd year now. I'm intrigued to see how these younger players evolve within an experienced team versus how Lawler, Traynor, Smiley, how they evolve with not as many leaders surrounding them throughout the course of the 12 months. Because the reason I say that is we see GWS Gold Coast with their expansion clubs. Some of these players, these younger players, they fall through the cracks of the AFL because maybe they didn't have the right guidance. So that's an intriguing narrative and something I want to keep a close tab on Richmond as a Collingwood fan, because now that we have seen GWS and Gold Coast go through their expansion period, I want to see because Richmond are pretty close to that, you would say. I want to see how Richmond managed through that.
Well, listening to SEN today, some idiot called up saying, clearly he was an idiot because they're saying we should be relegated. We're purposely going to tank. We're this, that. We've cut so deep. And then thank God my mate Dwayne Russell was like, I think a lot of the clubs do it when they've had the success. They need to cut back. Hawthorn did it, a few others culling good players, obviously to get trades or to get drafting, because before, as you would know as well, once Tassie gets involved, it's going to be very hard for any team that comes last in 26 and 27. That's what I was going to say. I was worried more about. Or Collingwood. If they don't bank in at least on one more premiership, like the slide could be even higher than us, only because of the age demographic, I believe. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think we've done it right. I hope. Like previous drafts over the years have been topsy turvy with us. Richard's handling round how shit. A few other players are pretty bad. But usually now, I think as we've gotten, I think since Dimmers came on, 2010 onwards, it's been pretty good. It's just now getting hopefully a proper now. Yeah, like you said about the experience, that's another thing. We do have quite a few good players still in the team, like Hops, Taranto, Prestia, Lynch, Broad, Vlosten, Nank,
sure.
captain. I keep forgetting. Short, that's the Grimes, but no. I think I'm missing a couple others, but McIntosh. So there is still quite a good amount of depth. But yeah, in terms of young, there is, I think, more than the senior experience, especially if we lose players in the season. Now we've lost Prestia at the start, and he was going to be on-field coach from what I heard. So that doesn't help. But I think it's more exciting. I'm very excited to see what they do. And against Collingwood, who's very experienced, it would be intriguing. But what are your thoughts, like with how Collingwood will go in terms of, like, you worried about the age demographic? Because I was thinking about that a lot lately. Like, shit, there's 10 players or more over 30, more than what we had, I think.
It can go either way, 100%. There is a general concern lingering in the back of Collingwood fans' minds if we don't capitalize and get return on what we have now. The optimism in me, the optimistic little man inside my head says, look at Geelong and look how they're able to sustain through without having
I hate them.
Yeah, I don't think many people like them. There's a lot of trauma instilled by those guys, but they've done well. They've defied the odds when it comes to negating the draft or, say, not utilizing it to the full extent. But Collingwood do well in the rookie draft. We do well in the mid-season draft. We've done well in trades. Delisted free agency helps with your top-ups. But look, we'll look back at this in probably 24 to 36 months as Tassie come in. I think Richmond are in a really good position because they've got the cream of the crop with full access, whereas it will be
super draft.
Yeah, the super draft. We'll look back at that. It will be a compromised draft, but not only for Collingwood, but for 16 other clubs or 17 other clubs besides Tassie. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting dynamic. Look, Collingwood, I'd have to go back and look at the years of when GWS and Gold Coast came through.
Gold Coast.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because we were relatively competitive, 2010, 2011, 2012, I would say that's when GWS and Gold Coast came in, roughly.
Yeah.
13, 14 maybe. So from there, Collingwood did struggle, but I'm not sure if that has any correlation to the compromised draft. But that's actually something I'm going to go have a look at before after this preview. There's some matchups, Nico, that I'm looking forward to in this practice match. If Tom Lynch features, now
I'm actually looking at the potential lineup as well here.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've noticed with Collingwood, the glaring issue for us at the moment is our defensive stocks with our key defender stocks. We've got Reef McInnes training as a defender. Me personally, I don't think he's like a key
McInnes.
Defender. Yeah.
He's a good forward.
Yeah.
Midfielder. Yeah. Interesting.
He's been training defense.
Halfback flank.
Yeah. So, he's trying to play not as a halfback flank. He's trying to play as, like, say, a Noah Bolter, Dylan Grimes sort of position. And that's not what I think Reef McInnes is. The problem is Darcy, I think if Reef McInnes doesn't work, I think Darcy Moore needs to play on the best forwards. Darcy Moore usually takes the second best forward and then, like, sort of slides across and intercepts. maybe like a Dylan Grimes as well to a certain extent. He's not. I wouldn't say Darcy Moore fits the mold of, say, an Alex Rance. Alex Rance was impenetrable one-on-one
freakish.
defensively. Like it was a god, absolute god.
That's what I was going to say about Darcy Moore. Like someone said the other day, and you will probably agree. I think Darcy Moore was a lot better as a defender, as a roaming kind of second one when Nathan Murphy was there. I think he's a huge loss because I think I heard a few people saying the other day you need to find like another Nathan Murphy that can like be a battering ram and just take out. But I don't know. You would know who's the next guy that's close to that kind of player. Or,
well, is it Billy Frampton?
I doubt it.
Charlie Dean, probably not. Reef McInnes, probably not the same type of player as Murphy. It's going to have to be Darcy Moore or my left field suggestion, and I stand by this, and we'll see if it ever transpires, but Brody Myercheck to the back line, who was initially brought to Collingwood as a VFL All-Australian defender for Port Melbourne. So that's my
really
left field. Yeah, my left field call. Mate, look at him as a forward, yeah. He never loses a contest. He might not take every mark. I don't see Brody Myercheck losing many, if not any, one-on-one defensive contest if he does go back down there.
That can happen when they move from a forward to a defensive kind of spot.
Who's done that at Richmond? Has anyone done that at Richmond?
The funny one is there's a few, but currently Jacob Kaczynski's moved back from forward line, even though it's not massive. But they keep going on about how he was in the under-18s All-Australian defensive team as a centre-half back. And there's actually good players in there. I looked at I'm like, everyone keeps going on about that. I'm like, look, I've never really rated him as a player in general. And then Hawks mates
Bolter has swung forward and back in his career.
Very good swing man. And better than, like you said, better than defense. Well, I don't know if I'd put Tom Lynch on Darcy Moore because from what I remember, last time he absolutely destroyed him. I think he got 6 or 7 goals, Tom Lynch. But that was in his peak years. But I don't know. I think I would love to see Lafau play. He is very up and coming.
Is he healthy?
No, I think he's going to be ready. I think they're saying April or May, but he's ahead of schedule for his knee reco. But I think having him up there with Lynch would be ideal, like very good. But it's more the small guys. But yeah, I think it would be, from what I'm looking at now, there's another guy who's gone really well. You would have heard of Jacob Bauer. There's also Fawcett, and they all came in mid-season drafts, actually the last 2 years, and they actually had a few niggles.
Jacob Blight, do you mean?
No, Blight, he's actually pretty much going fullback.
Yeah.
We picked him up in the mid-season draft as a centre halfback from Port Melbourne or Freo, somewhere in Fremantle. But from what I'm looking at, we've still got Oh, that's another one. Tom Brown has swinged, gone from forward to back. The biggest name I'm looking at is Gibcus. I don't think he is an absolute talent. Like once he's on the field, and he hopefully stays well. But it's pretty much Bauer, Lynch, and I think Fawcett. They're the 3 that I can think of. So, if we lose Lynch, we're in trouble. That's all I can say. But it's just about getting these other guys develop quicker. So interesting.
Give me to wrap this up, Nicole. Give me a player prediction for the game or a match prediction for the practice match.
Player prediction, match prediction. I think if both teams actually are pretty stocked up, I'd say Collingwood will win purely because they're ready to go. They have to be. And to launch into round 0. Are you in round 0?
Yep.
Opening round? Oh, you are. Okay. They've taken us out. Thank God. Because that was a catastrophe last year, going from Gold Coast straight to Carlton, in a 5-day turnaround and having about 4 injuries and 2 recos. Like it's the AFL's bloody stupid, honestly. With these, it's all about money. But I'm intrigued. Actually, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing if it happens. Josh Smiley against Nick Dacos. That's a big fat slurp. I would love to see that. That would be a very intriguing matchup, even though if he is in the middle, because he plays everywhere, Dacos, so I don't know.
I reckon Smiley might play on Scott Pendlebury. Similar size.
Similar build, size. Well, he's almost he's literally Patrick Cripps' height, like 195. So he's a pretty big midfielder. The other one, wait, I'm just going to ask you who's playing full forward for you guys? Like, who's the main full forward at the moment? Is Mychek still out?
Mychek, McStay will be probably the two
McStay.
rotating full forwards.
Okay. That'll be intriguing then as well. I think I'd love to see McStay on Blight, Jacob Blight. That'll be a good one. But yeah, overall, I think it'll be a pretty good game. I'm pretty excited actually. Now that footy's back, thank God.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
Nico, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think you've got a little bit of a natural talent in front of the cameras. I reckon it might be time for you to consider making your own Richmond YouTube channel. What are the chances of that coming to fruition?
Oh, that'd be I've actually thought about it a few times and I've mentioned it to people, but then I'm like, nah, it's too much, too hard, don't have time. And then I've always said to myself, I would love to be in as a career, like favorite career would be like commentary or talking like this. But this is the first kind of time I've ever done it. But if you're saying that, that's a nice compliment. But I don't know. Yeah, pending.
Well, think about it, right? The content produces itself. Like did you have to do any preparation for this? We pretty much just pressed record and we asked each other questions. And that's the same thing for you. Just talk to the camera. Do your match previews, do your match reviews, press record. It's really easy. And I implore anyone out there who wants to do something like this, it's actually a lot easier than you think it is. And there's many people in this YouTube world, that would be willing to give a helping hand. And that goes for you too, Nico. If you want to do this, you know who can help you.
No, I really appreciate it. The honor's been mine to be on this show. Finally, it's been good, especially to have some sort of Richmond involved, or else it'd be very hard for me to talk about Collingwood the whole time.
You did very well. Nico, thanks, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and go Pies.
Go Tigers. All good.